Hello everyone, this is Jaclyn with Color Me Perfect. I'm very excited today to continue my makeup series, and I'm working with a beautiful model that is a current real estate agent in Florida and also loves to do hot yoga, and someone I envy to hopefully look like as I'm going down this journey of yoga. So we got to think about the humidity is a huge factor. So obviously in hot yoga, that's not going to be something easy for makeup to really adhere to your skin. But in real estate, she needs to walk in and look professional, not overly done, and also not melted like a popsicle by the time she gets in that home. So we are going to do an anti-humidity look, a very natural professional finish to her makeup, and I'm going to give her some tips on things that she can touch up with when she's in the car in between the houses that she's showing to her clients. All right, everyone, we're going to start with our first step. So priming is the key to having your makeup stay on all day. So we are going to start with our CC cream. So she can wear this even by itself when she goes to hot yoga. And this is gonna give her a little bit of coverage, but it's not gonna look super heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use a buffer brush. You can also use your fingertips. I'm gonna brush this in, and this gives her an SPF 20. And also, it's gonna give hydration to the cheeks, and it's gonna help with oily T-zones, because Lord knows when we are in Naples, Florida, we can get an oily T-zone. Okay, so we're gonna turn your head right there. So you can see that this kind of really just blends in naturally to her skin tone. I am using a medium shade, as most of us in Florida, just even walking the dog, we're getting a lot of sun exposure. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, I'll turn this way. So now watch how this conceals any redness. And you can stipple or you can blend. Again, fingertips is totally fine. So CC stands for color correcting. And again, with it balancing the water and oil in the skin, that's why I love it as a primer. And then last but not least, we're gonna do the forehead. Okay, so, and then go down the bridge of the nose, and then of course on the chin. Now, another thing that you can do if you're running errands, you can also put some CC cream under the eyes, and what that does is it creates like almost like a light bulb look underneath the eyes. I think J-Lo was famous for the light bulb look. So you can see I'm just using my finger to go right under her eyes. And this conceals any little bit of redness that we all have, because the skin around our eyes is the thinnest as we get older. Close for me. And then I'm also putting it on her eyelids. And notice I'm not using a lot, just a little bit. So like I said, when I run out the door and if I'm running errands, this is the minimum I usually have on my skin throughout the day. And then I can come back and do makeup on top of it if I need to, if I'm gonna go to work from maybe running to the post office in the morning. So now we have our next step. It's called Perfect Canvas. Perfect Canvas is wonderful for just the T-zone. Now you can do it, you can put it all over. This is an SPF 30. However, I prefer it just in the T-zone. And this is also known as like a pore filler or line filler. So I use this again under my makeup every day. It really locks my makeup on. That way when I'm sweating, especially because as an esthetician, I'm in front of steamers, and with our client, especially going into houses in the heat of summer, it's might as well be a steamer. Okay, so now we have our priming step. Next is a foundation. So because she is a working professional and she needs to look a little bit more polished every day, I did customize the foundation for her with medium coverage. However, we can always customize that, make it a BB cream or a CC cream, depending on what she likes. So we're gonna start with a medium coverage and we'll go from there. So our foundation has 11% pigment, so less goes a long way. So when I'm working the foundation in, I'm going to just stipple it on just like I did with the primers, and notice I'm using the same brush, because you always want to work off the back of your hand or even a palette, just so you're not using too much makeup, because that is something that a lot of people tend to do, because what they do is when they put too much foundation on, then they have to work that in because they're not wanting to wipe everything off and start over. So as you can see, I'm just lightly putting it on, and I can add more on. So yes, this formula we can layer. Now, we were talking about her colors earlier. You want to go ahead and pull your palette out, and we'll show that to the camera. And we wanted to know what her perfect colors were for her clothing and makeup. As you can see, she is a soft prog, and most soft progs, they have a little bit of olive and a little bit of beige, so we were able to blend those two undertones and make the perfect foundation. Thank you. Okay, and last but not least, we have the forehead, and we're gonna blend this up. And always work it into the hairline, especially because we will be sweating for sure. And then always work down the neck. And always all the way to the ears, because a lot of people will have a little demarcation line there, and we don't want that. All right, so next we're gonna start getting into some concealing. Okay, concealing is a crucial part for anyone. Let's see, we're gonna use our Camoufleur concealer. This one is called Ivory. Now, Camoufleur concealers are heavily pigmented, so you want to use very, very little. So I'm going to dip my ring finger into the concealer, and then I'm just gonna stipple with my ring finger. Now, right now I'm just applying it just to see how it's gonna lay on her skin, on the cheekbone. Then I'm gonna get in with a detail brush, a concealer brush, and I will work on more detailing around the eye. Now, this concealer has a little bit of a jojoba oil in it, so it helps stay hydrated looking all day. But again, with humidity, less is more, and that's important to remember. All right, so we are gonna work the concealer underneath the eye. Go ahead and look up for me. So again, we all have a little bit of, just a little bit of redness, and I'm using very little. And I'll show you the trick so it's not creasing all day. Okay, close. A little bit on the lid. There we go. And a little bit in that inner corner. So this concealer would last a long time because you're just using a little bit. Okay, open and look up. It's perfect. All right, we're ready for the next part of our makeup. We've done our prep work, we've done evening skin tone, any texture regularities. So we are now on to our baked powders. So as you know, I'm a fan of baked powder. I love them because they have a little bit of micronized pearl in them. So they're soft, light finish. They have that soft focus. They're very velvety. They don't look too shiny, but also they're going to reflect off the skin nicely. So with our client's undertone, we're probably gonna work, I would say probably most likely mocha, because she's got a little bit more tan into her skin. So I'm gonna start the mocha just right along her cheekbone. So we both were talking about makeup earlier, and we both believe in not using one solid color. So that's exactly the same mentality I have, because nobody is one flat color on their face. Okay, all right. And then now we're gonna also dust across the bridge of her nose, because most of us kind of love that little bit of a sun-kissed look. And then also right around the corners of the forehead. And the corners of the forehead are super important, because it just creates that softness, and we want the focus on the face to be right here. That's the most important. Okay, and we're gonna have you tilt up, and then I always go along the jawline. Okay, and then again down the neck, always the rule. This area is always darker than the neck, so it's important that we always carry it down. That's just every single person. Okay, so now we want a little bit of our highlight powder. So we did the mocha, so I'm gonna go in with Buff, and I'm gonna just tap it right into the area that we want a little bit lighter. We want coverage, but we want a little bit lighter, and then across the midsection of her face, because again, we're making her look not flat, but multidimensional. She is a three-dimensional face, not a flat face. And that's important that we continue that. Now, I'm gonna take this pointed dome brush, and I like to stipple right around the nose, because that's where we get a little bit of redness. And then you can still do that same technique. Anywhere that you want additional coverage, you can layer, which is what the best part about minerals are, is layering. Okay. All right, so now we have powder done. We're gonna go in with a little bit of a cheek color. So it's important to look at the shape of the face when choosing just the face color and choosing kind of where you're gonna position it. So I want you to smile for me. As you can see, she has the highlights of her cheekbones. We wanna focus like right in through here, okay? So let's go ahead. I've already pre-chosen a blush. We're gonna do Shell, okay? And then I'm making sure I'm not blocking. Let's bring this light up just a little bit. Perfect, okay. Oh yes. So you can use a smaller blush brush if you want. You can also use a larger one if you just want just a really light wash of color. I'm doing a smaller brush because I'm purposely positioning it exactly where I want it. Now, smile again for me. So you want to have it on the high side of the apple of the cheek. Okay, now you can turn this way for me. Okay, so again, smile, and you can even have yourself smile in the mirror, and then you can kind of see where you don't want it to cross this line here. You want it to be above that, and always blend it out towards your ear, but not the super 80s look. We don't want where it's like that razor where they suck in and like this. That's not the look we're going for. Okay, then you're gonna blend with your powder brush. Okay, so we've got a little bit of color now, starting to come in shape. Okay, we're gonna follow with some eye color. So as a professional, she wants to look a little bit more polished, but also not like 500 steps when you're doing eyeshadow. So I really love our swirled type of powders. They're so fun. They're mosaics and they have lights and different tones, and it's really fun for people to use on their eyes. Okay, so we're gonna start with the lightest shade. Go ahead and close, and then always take your finger and warm up that concealer. And I'm gonna apply this in her inner tear duct and on her lid. Then I'm also gonna apply on the upper brow bone, okay? All right, so next we're gonna do her other eye. Same thing, warm the mineral concealer up with your finger, and then we're gonna dust right on the brow bone and work it in. You always want to work light right into that inner eye corner because we want to always create a soft focus light. I do like to bring it a little bit down on the cheekbone, not too much where it looks like she's stuck in a glitter fan, but just a little bit. And then also a little fun tip is I can take the brush and then just really work it down her nose. And what that does is it's really fun. You can create even contouring noses, and some people like to spend a lot of time, not myself. So I can bring like the mocha powder in and even just do the sides of the nose, and the tip. That quick. You don't want to spend a ton of time when you're going to be running back and forth because this is not a photo shoot, this is everyday work. Okay, next we're going to use Colore, and we are going to contour her eyes. So it looks like this. And I like Colore because it's really soft. And notice I'm lifting her eyelid slightly with my ring finger. And I'm gonna do a side V. And as I work it in to her contour of her lid. So this is pretty easy when I show clients because we're not going to do multiple colors here. We're just gonna do, again, a side V. So you can see V, the V shape, so it'd be this way. And I will bring it in to the contour of her eyelid. And that way it creates like a pretty accent, but it's not using 500 different shades. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let me see here. And then anywhere the lid has a little bit of a crease, you can stipple the color right in the crease. And then what that does is it creates more of an illusion of the lid going back in space, like it's an art trick. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and follow with mascara. Now that doesn't mean I'm not gonna put liner on. I just wanna see, a lot of times when I do makeup, I wanna see with mascara, when the lashes are starting to take shape, that's gonna tell me how much I wanna use or how much I don't wanna use of liner. Because liner sometimes can be a little too heavy depending on the eye shape. All right, so we're gonna use our Lash Luxury. Okay, so she just recently had a lash lift at our spa. So her lashes are gonna be really easy to do because they're facing the right direction. And of course she has really long, beautiful lashes. Now, one thing I love about mineral makeup is as you get heated through the day, it actually melts into your skin and it looks even better. So even when you first apply it, it might be like, oh, it's a little much. And then when you go out and you get warm, it heats and literally melts and it looks like your skin. I feel like conventional makeup that has a lot of talc in it necessarily doesn't do that. It can actually, I think, highlight little fine lines, texture irregularities, because talc is very drying. It's great, again, for before a photo shoot, but we are working on everyday makeup for everyday people that want to look their best, but also not spend 5 hours in the mirror. You really want to get your makeup done within about 15 minutes and not spend a ton of time on it. Unless that's what you want to do. Then feel free. I mean, there's days I want to play and I will do some crazy fun different shadows, but for the majority, I'm doing something that's like 15 minutes. Okay, look up for me. So I'm gonna dust the bottoms, and notice I'm using the technique of going back and forth. Now, most of the time with my own mascara, I'm usually gonna put it on twice to layer, because I want my lashes to look a little bit thicker. So the mascara gives the individual lashes a little bit more volume than it naturally has. So I'm gonna go back through and just add a little bit more mascara. Okay, and then one more on her last eye. Okay. Okay. And this is really humidity proof, so this mascara is perfect. Okay, and then look up one more time. Now, if you get mascara somewhere, do not panic. Keep some Q-tips by your makeup area. All you have to do is take a Q-tip and you just pick it up. You don't usually have to redo everything. And then if you're like, oh, I still see it, you can always take your little concealer and blur it out. Okay, so now we're gonna follow with lip color. Then together, we're gonna make the decision whether we add eyeliner or not. Because again, we want to see what the eye looks like, because we're trying to create that wide opened eye look. And she's trying to convey trust and honesty.
Of course.
That's right. We want you to convey that. Okay, so we are going to go with a waterproof lip liner, and it's called S'mores. Now, it's important when you have lip liners, you always want a sharpener. I love this sharpener, and it keeps all the pencil pieces. What are those called? The pencil shavings. All right, inside, so it doesn't get all over the floor. Okay, so I'm using S'mores, and I'm just lining her lips. And of course, with lip liner, I only choose waterproof formulas because we don't want the lip liner moving at all. All right. And then we're gonna do her bottom. Okay, so lip liner. Now we're gonna fill it in with what we call our lip stays. The lip stays are what I have on right now. Doesn't move, doesn't smudge, doesn't go anywhere. And I'm working with a neutral and a color, so you can mix them right on your lip. So I'm gonna start with my nude color first. And this is gonna just fill in, and you can rub together for me. Now I wanna take this fun sweet pink color, and I wanna do it right in the middle. And what that does is it makes the lip look bigger. Okay, together. Okay, perfect. Now, we're gonna take our lip liner again, and I'm going to create shading. So notice I'm taking the lip line, and what I'm doing is giving her kiss-proof lip color. I'm blending the lip stay with the liner. And also, again, this makes the lip look super dimensional. It gives that fuller look. J-Lo does this all the time. Okay. See that fuller look? Looks really good. So we have some finishing touches that we're going to complete her makeup look. And I'm gonna go with Sable, which is a brow pencil. Now, sometimes people do brows in the beginning of the look. You have to get to know what is comfortable for you. she's not really big into that tattooed eyebrow look. So we're just going to kind of brush in a little bit of brow pencil just to give her arch a little bit of lift. And usually where most people need the color is at the top of their brow. So how do you feel? Good?
Yeah,
just
that's
a
good.
little bit? Okay. And then again, I'm gonna take the pencil, I'm gonna wiggle it back and forth and then go at the top. Because usually if you put it at the bottom, it sometimes will kind of weigh the brow down, and we want more of a lifted look. And notice I'm not filling in a lot in the front, so she doesn't have that harsh start to the brow. I call that the angry bird eyebrow. When someone has like too much in the front or too edgy. I think it's because my son loved that show. Okay. So and you can use this spoolie on the other end to brush the brows. And one thing I recommend, most clients should always do a brow tint, which we kind of cheated and did a brow tint not too long ago. Because brow tints,
That's not cheating.
well, you know, we planned this later, right? So we didn't even know we were gonna do this. So brow tints, what they do is they tint all of the hair. If you have some silver white hairs, it's gonna tint them. And then when you go to do a fill-in, you're doing much less. It's much less work. And also when you're at hot yoga and you've sweat everything off, you still look pretty put together. Okay, now what we both decided is we are going to do a little bit of a tight liner. It's called Majesty. It's a plum color. And this is perfect to create just a little more definition to her eye. Go ahead and close for me. So I'm going to go in with, make sure again your pencil is nice and sharp. This is a little bit of a creamier formula. This is not a liquid liner. And I'm gonna wiggle back and forth. Okay, open for me. Perfect. Now look at the ceiling. This is when I get into that little inner corner. Okay, you can see this side done, this side not done. Okay, close for me. And then again, I'm wiggling back and forth. So we're trying to create like where the lashes look fuller. I'm not a big black eyeliner, big on black eyeliner, because I think as we get older, I think color does a lot for most women. Go ahead and look up. Now I want you to look at the ceiling for me. Perfect. Okay, close again. Okay, open. Good. Now you can also take the corner of the eye, and I'm turning the pencil on the side and just create a little accent. Close for me. So I turn the pencil on the side, and I'm creating just a little smudginess and just a little accent. Okay, that's just a really fun way to like pop the eyes just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm gonna start with all the finishing steps. So I'm going to use our Pale Petal Gloss. Now I'm gonna just gently put a little bit. Now just when you touch your lips, yep, don't rub, but just tap. It's called tapping. And that, again, is just kind of creating that little bit of a full look. And then also what I want to do is use a setting powder. Now, this is called an HD setting powder. This is clear.
HD, what does that stand for?
HD is high definition.
Of course.
Yes, we want you to be in high definition. I take that back. I'm actually using the natural, Barely There. It's called Barely There. I'm gonna dust this over the cheeks Now, when I pick it up, it's gonna look like a lot. So you're gonna tap it off, and then you're gonna dust. Because you want very little on your brush. This is when it starts pulling everything together. All right, so we are going to use this is called our blotting powder, and this is for humidity. So I'm gonna dust this across where she would normally get sweaty, especially going in and out of cars. And what this does is it kind of absorbs the sweat and the oil from the skin. And it is awesome when you have to be on stage in front of people speaking. And I always put it a little bit on the upper lip because we tend to sweat there as well. Now this is something I would have her have in her bag. So I'm gonna give this to my client, and then that way she can use it whenever she needs it. Okay, so we're gonna also use some setting powder. That's gonna melt all the powdery look together, so it's gonna look like your skin. Okay. Now, when you're doing it on yourself, you can go down or you can spray up and then lean into it, either way. You don't worry, because it won't mess your makeup up. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press everything in to the skin. Okay, so now we have our day look. I'm gonna quickly show you what to do if she wants to go meet a client for drinks after work. So we're gonna take our beautiful shadow wine, and I'm going to take that same idea of a V and I'm gonna enhance it. So I'm gonna tap it right in. And I'm gonna bring a little bit more color down on the lid. And I'm gonna pull a little bit more color into that V. Now notice, I'm just going right over top of what I did before. Okay, open. See that little bit of smoking it up? She's got such beautiful eyes and a beautiful eye shape, so this is super fun to do. So again, the sideways V. I am just applying it a little bit on the lid, then I'm gonna bring it into the contour just where I had it before with the clove. So I'm just following what I did before. Okay. And then you can also lift exactly what she's doing. You can lift when you look in the mirror, and you can apply a little bit of the darker shade right behind the lash line, or the lashes, I should say, not the lash line. And then it's creating more lifting. Same thing with this eye. See, and I like how her eyes open right now because then you can see. So when you're leaning in, looking in the mirror, you just want to apply right above. So like lash right here. And that's if we were doing like an evening look. So you're only using one other color and then you can easily transition it. Now, the last step to create that evening is if I want to do a little bit of lower liner. So I'm gonna just do a teeny bit right, just right in that corner right there. Not a lot. And that's called Mystic. That's a little bit of a charcoaly gray. And last but not least, we gotta make sure our eyes don't move. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that setting powder and dust it right under the eyes. The reason I'm doing this is because when you're using smokier colors, you don't want it to all fall under your eye, and then it'll look really a little bit too vamped. We don't want that. Yes, I just made up a word, so. Okay, so there is our evening look. She is ready to go out and have drinks and have some fun. She can just take her top, put a black one on or a deep plum, and she's ready to go. And of course, jewelry, doll yourself up. You'll have so much fun. This is without adding fake lashes. She could also do a lash strip, but hey, we're making it easy. So think about a little bit of lower liner, one darker eyeshadow color, and you're ready to go. That's if you do this proper layering technique that I showed you so your makeup is humidity proof. I hope this video was helpful, and it was so much fun doing just makeup.
Thank you.
And I hope you will continue to follow us. Make sure you like on YouTube and follow our channel so we can keep doing fun makeup looks for my clients. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.